Plaintiff Micah Bailey says the defendant is his son, and for the first 9 years of his life, Micah was addicted to crack. Micah claims after he went to jail for abusing the defendant's mother, he turned his life around, and he's suing his son for breach of contract. Defendant Byron Bailey loves his father and says he has become successful despite his father's absence. Byron says he went to college, got married, and had 2 children, and now he feels resentful that Micah missed out on his prom, his first football game, and the rest of his high school years.
Start with you.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I love my son very much, and during the first 9 years of his life, I abused drugs, mostly over the weekends. I would come home, stay with the family, go to work, and then on the weekends I would go and abuse drugs. And sometimes those weekends would spill over into the week, and my wife became very fed up with it, and we got into a big argument. I ended up hitting her.
Were you a crackhead that went on binges every weekend?
Yes, sir. And I ended up hitting her, going to jail. And when I got out of jail, I realized that this is not the way that I wanted to live my life. And
what year was this?
I'm happy to say I have been clean and sober for 17 years.
All right.
So it's been a really long time.
Okay. So you never returned to drugs after that jail experience?
No.
All right, that's what's called tough love.
Yes.
The toughest of love, going to jail.
Yes.
And your wife pressed charges on you when you hit her?
No.
Well, how did you end up going to jail?
The kids called 911.
Okay.
The police came. She did not press charges.
Okay. But in domestic violence cases, even though the woman may not press charges, the prosecutor still can.
And that's
when
what
in
happened.
other cases, that's not the law, because the theory is a lot of victims of domestic violence are so in love with their mate or their husband, or perhaps even scared, that they'll drop charges, they'll change their mind. Many times victims of spousal abuse have internalized it so that they start blaming themselves. Oh, maybe it's something I did, so I'm not going to press charges because it was my fault. So that's what happened, obviously, in this case. She was so in love with you, she didn't want to, but thank God for that law, because not only did that stop you from hitting her again, you also cleaned up, right?
Yes.
That's called tough love by the law.
Yes.
Good. And so what's been going on since then?
Everything's been fine except for the relationships with my children.
Why?
Because they were very angry about the first 9 to 10 years of their lives when I was abusing the drugs. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got a divorce, and so I was out of the household dad, paying child support, which was paid all the time.
But they didn't want anything to do with you because of the problems that you had while married.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And you weren't able to recover from that with your children?
Well, if I had to ask them, I would just go and say all of them have pain and anger about the past, which is understandable.
Okay.
Sir, Your Honor.
Good enough. Let me hear from you, young man.
Well, I loved my father, and I've been able to be successful, in spite of him being absentee. I was able to graduate from high school, and I went to Cal, and I studied math and physics there, and I did real well, and I met my wife there, and I got 2 beautiful
California,
kids.
Berkeley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's one of the top, that is the top public university in the country.
Yep.
University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Michigan, where my son Greg went. So congratulations, and that was in what?
Math and physics, yeah.
That's great. What have you done with those credentials?
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
Well, right now, I'm an electrician.
Okay.
I've been, it's a good job. It pays real
You're
well.
probably
It gives
going
me
to
great
invent
benefits.
something in a minute. Go ahead.
I've been able to support my wife. She just finished grad school at USC. So I've been able to build a.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. I've been able to build a good life, a strong life, in spite of my father being absentee. And however long he's been clean, I didn't see him from the time I was 9 until about the time I was about 17.
Even after he cleaned up?
we would see him intermittently.
Why? He still wasn't coming around?
He still wasn't coming. He would be around for a month, maybe 2 months, and then there would be long stretches where we just wouldn't see him, wouldn't have any contact with him, you know.
And you and your other siblings kind of have a resentment?
I think we had resentment and we had anger for a long time, but I think that now at this point it's turned into something else completely.
Right.
You know, it's just
like who cares type.
It's indifference.
Right.
You know, like
right.
I don't know him. You know, he's a stranger to me mostly, and he doesn't know me. You know, and he missed out on so much of my life. You know, when I was growing up and I was growing to become a man, he wasn't there for that. You know, he missed out on me playing high school football. He missed out on me going to prom. He missed out on my first high school pregnancy scare. You know, and I needed him for that.
That's true. You did need him for that.
I needed him for that, you know, and he...
So essentially, sir, you missed out on the best years of your life. Not even the best years of his life, the best years of your life. The things he described were the most enjoyable things I've ever engaged in, other than my college years, where I met my wife and had so much fun. But what do you have to say about that?
Your Honor, my son forgot that when I got out of jail after hitting my wife, the only job that I can get required me to travel 100% of the time.
Oh, okay.
And during that time when I was traveling on my furloughs, I would come back to the town and I would visit them.
All right.
Okay.
Got it. What job is that, by the way?
I was working in telecommunications, working on fiber optic transmission systems. And
As what?
as a commissioning engineer.
Okay, going from place to place providing engineering services.
Yes.
And never got a day off.
Yes, but I couldn't come back every week because typically I was either in Europe or on the other side of the country.
Gotcha. All right. So you definitely made good on all your child support.
Your Honor, I could have stopped paying when he turned 18
continued to
21
Good.
for all 4 of them.
Excellent. All right, at least you did that. Excellent. All right, good. Let's get to the breach of contract that you're suing him for. Take your time.
Well, I really don't want to be here. If I hadn't taken out a loan for this, I wouldn't be here. But
What happened?
my son asked me to give him some money for a midwife for the birth of his second child. He said that the insurance company would pay 80%. So
I'm sorry. Give me.
I said that I would go ahead and take out a high interest rate loan and help him with it, and he would just pay me back with the money from the insurance company. The insurance company only paid him $1,000. He didn't pay me because he was laid off and couldn't pay me. So I said, okay, we'll just try to pay something. And then later on, he got a $4,000 loan to pay me back, but he got laid off again, so he decided not to pay me as well.
And kept the $4,000 for living expenses?
For living expenses, yes, Your
When
Honor.
did all this happen?
This happened back in July
Took the loan out
2012.
And did he ever resume work, to your knowledge?
Yes, he resumed work, and he did.
When? How long afterwards?
I'm not quite sure about that because the nature of his work, he gets laid off on a regular basis, and we have been communicating through all those times. And I apologize that I don't remember the dates, but after the loan...
Season. Don't remember the season?
Fall. I asked him if he was going to pay me.
And what did he say?
He said he could not because he was not working. Then I said, well, you need to start making the payments. And
Did you tell him how much?
yes, I did. And
How
he
much?
made 2 payments of, and these were interest rate payments only, of $486 for a total of $900.
Oh, he had agreed to pay interest?
Well, I asked him to start paying interest when he could not give me the money back for the reimbursement from his insurance company.
And he agreed, okay, I'll pay you the interest.
And then I said, well, can you at least start paying the interest? And he said yes.
How much was that?
And that's $486.
And that was when?
That was, I'm going to guesstimate around in...
Let me just tell you, sir, when you're trying to collect money and win a lawsuit, you have to have specific dates. Because I promise you, he's going to be kind of precise. Watch. Sir, what do you want to tell me about this loan, this repayment?
The agreement was that I would give him the money that I got from the insurance company.
And what happened?
The insurance company did not, initially they denied the claim, and when they made their adjustment, they still did not pay the full 80% like they were supposed to. And so I ended up only getting $1,057 from the insurance company.
Did you give that to him?
I made 2 payments on the loan for him, totaling $972.
Okay, and that's $486 twice. And was that toward interest or toward the balance of the loan?
I believe he specified that they would be interest, yes.
Okay. Go ahead, and so you paid that. And
so
then
I made those 2 payments, and that was all that I could do because I
all
was...
right, and when was that?
That one of those was November of 2012.
Okay.
And the other one was February
Okay.
of 2013.
Got it. See?
Okay.
Why don't you believe you owe the balance?
$85? Yeah, definitely I owe the balance.
How is it $85?
That's the difference between what I gave him and what the insurance company gave me.
No, he can't rely on your payments from the insurance company to collect his debt.
Now, normally, Your Honor, I'd agree with you, but the agreement that he and I had initially was that first that the money would be a gift until I got reimbursed.
Now you're switching up on me. Why would you pay on a gift?
Because I was expecting to get reimbursed.
Right, you were expecting to, but you didn't. Remember, it was a gift until you did get reimbursed.
Right.
But you didn't get reimbursed.
Right.
So you shouldn't have paid on it. If the agreement was you don't pay until you get reimbursed, and you never got reimbursed fully. So that means you should never have paid.
And, you know, I considered doing that, but I thought that it would be better for the relationship that we were trying to build if I helped out a little bit to the extent that I was able.
Helped out a little bit to the extent that you were able.
Yes, sir.
To repay him the $5,000 that you borrowed? You sound like you're doing him a favor to pay him back.
Well,
that's not what happens when you owe someone some money. You're not doing them a favor to pay them back. Sorry, I'm not listening to all this.
The gift was the difference between the reimbursement and the $5,000 total.
You're double talking me. Stick with science. 5,000 is your judgment, sir. I do not believe it was a gift at any time. I believe you expected your money, and I believe it may have been based on the promise that he would be reimbursed, but not conditioned upon it. Meaning if he didn't get his money, you still wanted yours. And so therefore, I'm going to grant you your judgment. You gentlemen have a good day.
Byron, I still love you. And if I hadn't gotten the loan, I wouldn't even be here. It's just to pay the loan back. I love you and your family very much.
And, you know, instead of suing me, you should try to be spending time with your grandkids. You know, maybe some of your experience could be useful to them in their life.
Well, that's what I'm working on. I love you.